Hi, Ms. Ferende. This is our post-conferencing for the lesson that took place on March the 19th. And I wanted to go back over what took place, and you covered the core curriculum standards 6 and B, where students would fluently add, subtract, multiply, or divide multi-digit decimals using the standard algorithm for each operation. I wanted to take some time to ask how you thought the lesson went.
In general, the lesson actually went really well. What I used to help the students understand how to multiply with decimals was their knowledge of multiplying with fractions, which was something that they were actually very comfortable and confident and fluent in. So connecting that knowledge to how decimals and fractions are related and how we can use them together really helped them take full grasp on it.
Oh, good. So how does this learning fit into the sequence for learning in this class?
Well, this unit that we're working on is all about operations with decimals. So we've already covered adding and subtracting, and now we're moving into finishing up with multiplying. After this, we'll do dividing with decimals and then work with percents. In previous units, we've learned how to do different operations with fractions, such as adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing as well. And this is just a skill that they need to use when being a problem solver, pretty much.
Have you considered any real-world problem-solving situations, maybe perhaps students bringing in receipts?
Absolutely. We actually, every day I did a warm-up kind of activity where it involved some sort of real-life situation that I did. I have a really good relationship with my students, so they were really attached to that, and they were interested in, oh, well, where did you do that? Well, okay, this is what you did. Okay, good. And then they felt more interested in solving the problem because it had to do with something that they knew.
Okay, so you were able to get a more authentic moment of reflection from your students, and I like that very much because my vision is that I believe that students should be able to own their knowledge and then apply what they've learned. So I'm glad that you felt that you were effective. I thought that the lesson in that area was very strong, and I thank you for sharing. I just wanted you to just briefly describe the students again. I noticed that there were some students that may not have been on task as much and some that were very focused, and just go back over the demographic of the class.
Sure. That is a class of 18 students, a wide range of abilities and work ethic, and actually many of their abilities are a lot higher than they show. Mm-hmm. So their work ethic kind of is deceiving as to what is really going on up there.
Sure.
So there are no students with IEPs in that class. There's one student with a 504, so I have to have him sitting close to the front. I try to pair him with a very strong role model. Other than that, I like to group heterogeneously because I believe that, it's a different world in education today. It used to be very teacher-driven, and now it's very student-driven. And so if a student isn't understanding maybe what I'm trying to get across to them, if they can hear it from a peer, they can kind of own it better that way. And that's actually why I became a teacher. When I was in high school, I used to help all my friends with math, and just because they were able to hear it from someone else in a different way, that's when they had their aha moment. So that's kind of why I became a teacher, to provide those aha moments for my students.
Great. I want the student who has the 504. Mm-hmm. When he does have difficulty, mm-hmm. How or what type of strategies do you use to make the learning more clear for him?
Well, I try to get everyone settled in what they're responsible for doing, the classwork for that day. So they'll start doing their group work, and then I will go check in with that student to kind of walk him through the first few steps if he can't do that on his own. Because of why he has a 504, it severely affects his ability to perform grade level material. So it's been a very difficult year with that particular student. Since the beginning, it's been more of a behavior issue, which severely affects his ability to learn. I have been in constant communication with the parents because I believe that collaborating with the parents is key in really helping the students progress throughout the year. This student is just not seeing that his teachers are there to help him. And so we've pulled out all the tricks. Stay after school. I'll walk you through the steps. Here's a practice page that really breaks it down for you. Doing things in more of a simple way so then he can get to the complex way. He just really isn't having it. So it's just been a difficult year with that one particular student. I'm not going to give up. That's just not the kind of teacher that I am. So until June 21st, when it's the last day of school, I'll be trying new things every day. And that's just how I kind of have to take it.
Great. Thank you for sharing in that area. I guess now, looking forward, I'd like to know, where do you see your teaching style moving forward, using the techniques that you currently use? Tell me about some of the techniques or some of the applications that you may want to do in your classroom going forward, so that in a future observation, when I do come, we can talk about more things.
Okay. I've done a lot of reflection this year since it's been my first year teaching. Something that I've noticed is critical for these students in math is to really become problem solvers and really start thinking outside the box on how can I go about solving this problem. A lot of the students in that class that you observed are outside the box thinkers, so they come up with things that I really didn't even expect to hear. So I've been learning from them just as much as they've been learning from me, which I think is what makes this job so special. In the future, I want to hold their hand less.
Okay.
I feel like because I want to make sure that they understand the material, I do give them questioning where I'm not giving them the answer, but I want to make sure that I'm not giving them too much. I really want them to work through it.
So in essence, you want to guide their learning through questioning techniques?
Right.
Okay. And the questioning techniques, are they aligned with the objective?
Absolutely. I'm always trying to think of how can I answer their question in helping them obtain the knowledge that they need to know for that day, but without me just flat out telling them. Okay. I want them to come up with it, and that way they take more ownership of what they just learned.
Are there any techniques of spiraling that you have incorporated in prior lessons that you would want to use in the future?
I think it's important to always spiral in things that the kids have learned previously. Before this unit on decimals, we did a unit in geometry and measurement, and they were finding areas and perimeters of figures such as circles and rectangles and parallelograms and triangles. And now that they have this knowledge of how to work with decimals, they don't have to worry about, I got to use my calculator for this area of a triangle because it has decimals in it and I don't know how to multiply or divide with decimals. After this unit, they will. So that's a way that I can spiral it in and say, hey, look, here's an example of something that we've learned. Let's try to practice that, but using the new skill that we just learned now. So that's just one example of spiraling.
Well, Ms. Ferendi, I'm going to be back in the next few weeks for another observation. It may be an impromptu observation. I may just walk in. I may just want to spend some time watching the kids and watching you, and I look forward to having a very wonderful time in your classroom enjoying education.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.